Okay, 45 and 52. Week, I don't know. Sorry, I can't keep track of them. Recording this pretty late at night because we just got home. I am getting ready for the work week. First, I should say thanks to everybody who reached out or commented on last week's video. I know it was a rough one. It's not really my intention. I'll be honest with you, I typically have not been reading comments the last couple months, which is probably not a good thing. And I do want to take like one afternoon just to sit down and read and respond appropriately. But look, whether you reached out through commenting or through messaging me, I appreciate it. You know, that wasn't my intention. You know, just basically kind of getting things off my chest, I guess you could say, more or less. This week has been more about, I should say less about the problem and more trying to figure out how to get past it. Made a couple calls, working on some stuff behind the scenes there. Really the financial into it, it's just like, look, I know that I've taken some big steps this past year in starting a new job, and just kind of reminding myself that, look, you have to really promote yourself and work yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. So that's just something that's going to kind of come in time, I suppose. And, you know, look, I just started this job and I'm constantly keeping in the back of my head, like, okay, you got to keep moving forward. And I like where I'm working. And it does seem like there's a lot of opportunity. So looking forward to, I guess, what the future brings there. Personal side, really, not much has changed. That's just kind of how it is. Like I said, I'm trying to make some changes with my health that are a little tricky, just really because of finances. But it's something that, look, what's the alternative, you know? So I'm pushing ahead as much as I can, and I'm hoping that things just kind of resolve favorably soon. I mean, other than that, as far as the channel goes, I just tried to do something a little bit different this week, and I tried to actually open up one of those Joe Kuber course books I've had for years now. I got as far as doing, I guess, like a practice page, because there's really not much you can do in an hour. I also realized that I didn't have all of my supplies with me, so that was kind of a bummer. That being said, you know, I had fun doing it, and it's something that you probably need more than an hour for, so maybe a Saturday morning isn't the best, you know, best time to do it. But hey, look, tried it, I enjoyed it, and you know, by the end of the hour, I was getting, you know, pretty loose. So maybe it's something I just have to incorporate into my normal practice, you know, when I'm doing pen and paper, just to sit down and loosen up and write, and draw, rather. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, other than that, look, you know, the next kind of big thing, we're trying to plan my daughter's birthday party. Don't know if we're going to do it here, or if we're going to try to go to a place. Probably going to wind up here. And yeah, after that, we're kind of full throttle for the holidays. So look, quiet installment. I'm going to let you go early. Thanks again for checking this out. Hope you guys have a great week. Okay, 45 and 52. I don't know what week. Heavy glare edition. You know, I was going to just be like, let me just try to block this, but I kind of like it. It's the rays of light kind of peering through. It is early Sunday. I'm outside of Whole Foods, which is where I typically am, it seems, every weekend morning. Not necessarily Whole Foods, of course. You know, just a grocery store. It's the best time for me to go shopping. It's the only time for me to really go shopping, because if I'm home, I want to be there to help my kids and, you know, hang out with them and whatnot, which is kind of, I think, the bigger part of this whole discussion. Before I go forward, I should say I did record last week, and I didn't realize until about Tuesday or Wednesday that I forgot to post. So if you're looking at this, you have a bit of a twofer, I guess, which is a good thing or a bad thing. But back to the stuff at hand. Of course, it was a bit of a hectic week. 2 Halloween parties I guess you could say one at work. Actually, the second one wasn't really a party. It was more of, what you do on Halloween when you have two kids, two small kids. They're a little too young for trick-or-treating. They don't know going door to door. They don't even really eat candy. I think the only place my son has had candy has been at my in-laws. My brother-in-law snuck him something. But it meant driving to see the parents, our parents, I should say, their grandparents. You're getting them dressed, and then, of course, midway through the drive, we're like, why don't we just send pictures? But it's because we get home later, we eat later, we're exhausted. They're little, they don't know what's going on, so they're miserable, because, like, can we get out? Why are we in these uncomfortable things? But it kind of brought me to a bigger notion that hit me, I'm going to say Friday afternoon. You may have noticed I haven't really posted to my main channel, to my videos lately. And it's more, to be honest with you, I've got videos shot. I'm like, I don't really want to put this up. I'm not having that much fun doing it. So I jumped on, I did a live yesterday because I was like, I don't know if I like this YouTube thing anymore. I don't like the idea that a lot of people kind of run into, where you're like keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, where, well, they're doing unboxing, I have to do an unboxing, or they're doing this, I have to do this. It's like, okay. And then the second part of it, I understand it's the internet. I understand the internet gets a little rude at times, why don't we say? I don't like the idea of having, think of a different word, but I don't like the idea of people who attack individuals, people who were very negative in nature, at least from what I've seen. People just don't seem like very nice people, getting rewarded for acts that are just basically not very nice. So that made me kind of really sit back and think. And I'm like, it's not that I don't have to it's not that I have to stop putting up videos. I think I just have to be a little bit more deliberate with my time, especially. I would have I've been running into an issue the past month where you have a weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Usually Saturdays I have a lot planned. The last month, I'm going to say, Sundays have just been, I'm too exhausted to do anything, and I went up spending 3/4 of the day just in bed and just on my ass. And it's not like, hey, you're tired, you need to recharge, because I am tired. Because honestly, during the week, after everybody goes to bed, that's the time I have to work on art or videos or whatnot. And it's lately been taking a toll. So I've kind of wrote it off as, well, my body needs to recover. But it's, what it is, if you're more deliberate, I think, and more purposeful in what you're giving attention to, what you're giving time to, then I think you're not going to just be exhausted. It'll be more calculated. And I think going forward, that's what I have to do. So I'm going to decide. I have a bunch of unboxing videos I filmed. Some are good. Some, I think you could tell I just don't want to be there. So some of these may see the light of day, some of them may not. And then going forward, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to focus so much on what others are doing, or even branching out in the quote-unquote community. I'm going to be me. If I want to jump on and hang out, I'm going to do that. But I'm not doing anything out of obligation any longer, or out of perceived obligation, I should say. If you're into that, great. If you don't care, great. If you're really pissed off by that and like, how dare you, I've been watching your videos, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. You know, I kind of resigned myself to the fact a long time ago, I'm not going to be the next giant YouTube success on this platform, and oh well, I could live with it. Last thing I want to note, this is the last Sunday before Election Day. I don't care who you're voting for. I don't. I'll be honest with you, in my mind, they are both terrible, terrible choices. You know, if this were a restaurant and they say, hey, today we have this and we have that, I'd be like, we're going to go. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. But one thing that is, look, no matter how old you are, again, no matter where your politics may fall, keep in mind, there's nobody that's going to get in office that's going to change your life for the better. You have to do that on your own. Not so long ago, I was involved with politics, not at a national level, but I will say this. Of all the politicians I've met, and there's been, I think, a significant amount, there have only been maybe, I'm going to say 2 or 3 that I felt were doing the job that they were hired to do. I'm not going to expand more on that, and I'm not going to tell you. Actually, you know what? I'll say who, and it's because he's retired. Rodney Frelinghuysen was an amazing public servant, and I don't like that a lot of people made some assumptions and accusations because he'd been there for so long, and because of, you know, who he was, you know, who had to be honest, I don't know, but if they knew him, they'd know, yeah, he did an amazing job, and I can't say much for his replacement, who's been there for, I think, a little bit too long, but that's a whole nother discussion. So look, in thinking of acting with purpose, I don't know if or when I'll be putting something up here again. Maybe next week, maybe not. Either way, I hope that you're getting something out of these videos. I was going to say enjoy it, but you know, I know that could be a slog. Anyway, take care. Happy Sunday. I got some shopping to do. Hey there, it's 45 and 52. This is the handheld I just got home from work edition. I was going to actually shoot this in my car when I pulled up, but it's dark now because daylight savings. I'll try not to move back and forth too much, sorry. So I know what you're thinking. You haven't seen me do these in a while. I've been recording them. I haven't posted them. I'm going to promise to try to do it tonight because I'm already, you know, respect that you're being generous with your time watching this thing, if you are. So to watch 3 back to back, because I'm just going to throw it up as one at this point, you know, is asking a bit much, to be honest. But you know, the week itself had been okay. In fact, I had an interesting kind of epiphany, if you will, or why don't we just say thought, because I don't think it's that smart, but out of the blue, one day last week while I was driving home from work, and I don't know how this came about, I'll be honest with you. One of the things I really, really, really stress about is that I feel like I'm not saving enough for my kids. You know, they each have their own savings accounts, and, you know, I haven't really been able to put in as much as I wanted to. And that's important to me. And I don't know why this hit me out of the blue. The reason it was important to me is because when we got married, I had my father-in-law, who's very nice, very generous, didn't realize, you know, how much a wedding in New Jersey costs. So I said, hey, look, I'll cover half if this is an issue. And we did. And then we bought a house right around the same time. We moved into our house 2 days after we got married. So there was a lot going on. And during that time, I didn't have any help from my parents. I should say this. One of my parents gave me minimal help. I think paying for the rehearsal dinner. And it's because I had to emphasize this is what the groom's family is supposed to do. It's like, okay. And to be honest with you, I didn't want any help when we bought our house. Although, one thing I kind of found out after the fact is that one of my siblings did get a significant amount of help. But that's neither here nor there. And I'll say this too: my father-in-law supposedly had offered to buy us a house. I don't remember this conversation myself, but I'm told that this conversation happened, and I said no. And either way, whether that conversation happened or not, I'm glad I said no. I'm going to go ahead and say, look, I'm probably oversharing on this, but I'm not going to go too far into what goes on with my in-laws. But had we had accepted that, they would have been in a much tougher spot right now. And that's the most I'll say on that. And they're good, but I don't know that they would have been good if everything had gone down the way it did. So anyway, driving home, it's always been my driving kind of one of the things that drives me is that, look, I want to be able to help my kids afford to buy a house or get married. And out of the blue, it turned, it's like, you know what? I never had a college savings fund, or if I did, it just never got to me. I don't know what happened to that. And I'm not going to be the kind of to pry into it. And that, look, I paid for my undergrad through, through loans and grants and whatnot, which I paid off shortly after I turned 30. And for my master's, I had taken advantage of my employer's tuition reimbursement plan at the time, and the remainder of which I paid in cash out of my savings account when I had a savings account. Anyway, my point is that when I think back to those times, and I'm not going to say who, but one of my parents was driving a really nice car at the time. It was kind of the midlife crisis mobile, I guess. And there were other amenities that were there. We all went on vacations up into an extent. I'll say this, but my thought is, look, I got a car that I need 3 tires on and probably new brakes. I'm not looking into that stuff now because I'm more interested in what do my children need. It's like I've kind of flipped the pyramid in that sense. It's like, here's my household needs, which are commingled with my kids' needs, and then my own needs. And my wife's needs I put above my own as well. Not that she needs a lot, just to be clear. She's an independent woman. Yes, I'm just pointing out something. And to be honest with you, that kind of makes me feel like, even though it doesn't look like I'm ahead, I am ahead. And not that I'm racing with my parents, it's just I know the example I'm trying to leave, and I know where I want my kids to be comfortable in the future, and I feel like I'm a step closer to setting that up. But look, I shouldn't fret too much on that because I am working towards that. The day-to-day stuff that bothers me is my ability to keep doing so. I kind of feel like there has been this invisible wall in front of me that I'm trying to either climb over and knock down, but at the moment it's just not budging. Now, I'm lucky enough in my career that I've had, some really good things happen. If you want to talk in baseball terms, I've had some great hits. I've had some singles, I've had some doubles, I've had some triples. But what I keep looking for is that grand slam. And, it's probably not the type of thing that realistically I should look for. It's, the best careers are probably those that are built slowly. But at the same time, I'm like, look, you never know when your turn at bat is done. Let's speak in those terms. I'm not trying to sound grim, but it's just, as the provider, I need to swing for the fences every single time. And I think that's what wears on me. And that kind of clarity has really kind of helped me out, just as personal things go. And look, I've been at my new position now in my new job for about 5 months. Everything's going well. And, look, we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I'm not going to go too much into that. But I'll say this, feel I made a great move, and I really enjoy where I'm working with the people I'm working with. Um, what else did I want to talk about? Let's see. I did go over, but throw me a bone. I know that some of the other weeks here are short. Tomorrow we will celebrating my little girl's first birthday, so we're all very excited. And you know what? Appropriately so, we're going to celebrate this weekend, and it may put me in a rough spot for a week or two, but you know what? There's only one shot at the first birthday, and these are the things that you are supposed to go. I don't want to say go big, but these are the things that you're supposed to really just say, this is what we have to do. Um, at the present time, not inviting any siblings. That's just how it is. I kind of left the door open for communication, and whoever wants to, just hasn't. So I'm not going to dwell on that either. I'm just going to dwell on the people who come and who I'm lucky to spend time with. Oh yeah, I did want to talk a little bit more about, I guess, YouTube and art in general. You may have noticed I didn't finish Battober yet, and it's because I'm stuck on one specific piece that I think might just finish me out for the whole, Battober. And, granted, I only got about halfway through, but trust me, I got a good reason. It's definitely a big undertaking. YouTube, look, I've been recording stuff. I have ideas to record stuff. I've done some lives. I just haven't edited and posted. And it's like, you know what? This is just the kind of YouTuber or, whatnot that I am at the moment. I come home, I'll get changed and I'll be helping out and whatnot until probably 10 o'clock, until I'm able to finally sit down and just relax a bit. And I'm sure that there's one or two things that I'm going to have to do that might extend that another hour or so. But that's who it is. Look, there's some people on here who are on. I feel like every time you turn on YouTube, you see them pop on as a live or something. Half of me is like, I wish I could do that. And the other half of me is like, I hope that they're doing something else other than this. And I'm not trying to slam anybody. I'm not trying to speak badly at anybody. Whatever works for that person or whatever works for you is what works for you. And what's working for me or trying to work for me, I guess, is what I'm going to do. But, look, I made the choice to prioritize family life and home life above YouTube. And that's kind of where I am at the moment. Yeah, I do have a lot of stuff I just want to put together. And when I do, I'm just going to kind of get it out there because next year is going to be a lot different. I've seen a lot of channels talking about, I have to change my approach, I have to do this, happen to do that. And I'm kind of right there with them. So I'm kind of curious if it's just, kind of like a sign of the times thing. I know another channel, Brian LCS, we've been around more or less the same time, a couple months difference. And he's talking about changing too. So I don't know, but we shall see. Oh, and another note. Maybe I should get into this, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to say this. CBCA Awards. Brian is an awesome guy. Okay? I know that there's people who stop short of saying, well, you can't really say that this person's your friend because you haven't met them. Screw that. I almost said something else. There are, look, I love a lot of people on YouTube, but there's a select group of people who, if they called and say, hey, look, I'm in the area, I would say without a doubt, hey, come on over, sit down for some dinner. And Brian is towards, if not at the top of that list. People make mistakes. It happens. I don't believe it was coming from a hateful place. Leave him alone. And if it bothers you that much that you feel angry that here, like, we're over a week out of the CBC Awards, you need something else to do. I'm sorry. I'm not being critical, but relax. There are so many things you could be upset about or angry in this world. There's so many things that you could actually make a difference in changing if you choose to. Don't get hung up on this. And I'll go a step further and say this. If you have the time, look up a comedian by the name of Patrice O'Neill. He did it. He has been dead, I think, over 10 years at this point, but brilliant comedic mind, but also very smart. He was on an interview with Fox and Friends. This is like maybe the mid 2000s. Opie and Anthony had gotten kicked off of regular radio to give you, I think it was regular radio at the time, just to give you an idea how long this goes, because a homeless man in the studio who they had just as a guest had said something about Condoleezza Rice. I don't know if I could even say that on YouTube, but whatever. They got kicked off the air for that. They weren't doing anything to that. And Patrice made a statement. Just look up the video, because he says it so much more eloquently than I can ever put it together. But I'll say this. A bad joke and a good joke are born of the same process, as long as you're not there to hate. If what Brian had said had been hilarious, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I didn't watch it myself, to be honest with you. And nothing against the awards, I haven't. Just in short, look that up again. It's Patrice O'Neal, Fox and Friends, with the woman from the, I think, NOW movement, the National Organization for Women. And he'll say it much better than I just did. Anyway, I gotta run. Take care.